What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Candy J, coming to you with another episode of Candyology. Hey, y'all. Listen, if this is your first time here, my name is Candy J. I am a certified clinical sexologist through the Dr. Rachel Institute and the American Colleges of Sexology. I focus on putting the oohs and the ahs back into your relationship, but I do this by helping you foster better communication. I am a local marriage facilitator. I am a 7 principles of making marriage work Gottman leader. I am a wedding officiant. I am a sex educator and a bedroom candy consultant. Okay, so if this is your first time here, welcome. Hashtag first time. Hashtag baby girl. The hair is hairing, right? Okay. Anyway, so you can see on the screen, right? I'm not by myself. Not at all. Excuse me, what's your name? Oh my god, like, what's your name?
Hey y'all, I'm Erika, aka E Money the Barber. Y'all know who you're looking at right now.
Absolutely. Now, Erika, listen, you told me make sure you share. So all you gotta do is go.
Let me go share with y'all
my page and share to your page, okay? And we'll be right back. Why don't you want to go there? I know it was like only 30 seconds, but hey, so listen, again, if you are just joining us tonight I got my bestie with me. Oh, okay. Anyway, listen, this episode is called what? Coke and Coochie. Okay, listen. Y'all, we'll tell y'all something. First of all, can we dive in for 5.2 seconds? Can we tell these people this story about how you didn't like me?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like her, y'all. We're gonna start the story out by saying that when I first met Candy, I did not like her. And I made sure she knew that. I told her, I said, I don't like you. We don't have to be in each other's face or nothing like that. I basically just would walk past her and passing, and I had an office, and my shop and her office was all in the same building. She happened to be right next door to me. And y'all, one day I was in my shop, she was in her office, and she was in there like having a whole come to Jesus meeting, listening to her music and stuff. And if I tell you, I went over there and I tapped on the door and I was like, "Are you okay?" Y'all, she was sweating and crying. And it just made me, it let me know, that made me realize this girl's connected. She has a really, really good spirit, and I just went in her office and we started talking, and here it is a few years later, and we can't get rid of each other. Right. Yeah, that's for real.
Listen, so she told y'all we was in the same building, right?
Right.
So I'm doing a podcast. That's what she was doing as well. But I was looking for another topic, and I said, Erika, I got this crazy idea to make up this podcast about Coke and Coochie.
Right.
And she was like, what? Coke and Coochie?
No, I thought it was the other way around. I thought I was telling my story.
No,
Okay,
because I came out there to the banister, and you was talking to somebody, but I threw it out there, and you was like, well, you didn't know I had a
okay, and then I started telling the story. You were like, oh, we have to absolutely.
So guys, as a part of my thing of being a mental therapist, right, a mental health counselor, is that I always want to make sure that I have podcasts and interviews with people that have gone through some of the things that I help deal with. Now, listen, addictions is not my thing. I got a whole other therapist for you. Hey, Dr. Hines. She's doing a whole addiction camp actually next month in February. If you need her information after this, that's a serious note. Please let me know and or let Erika know, and I will pass the information along. Okay. But so I wanted to talk about, because one of the things, did I start out though? I don't think I did start out telling you that my dad had an addiction.
No, I knew that your father had an addiction. You did say that, and it was something tough that you went through, having to see a loved one go through that. You know, your own father. Come on,
right?
Somebody that you're close to,
right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy, because my thing is, meeting this woman, you would never think, never think.
A lot of people don't.
So let's dive in for a second, though.
We can dive in. We definitely can do that.
First of all, tell me what even got you into an addiction.
The fast life, I was just always attracted to the fast life. I have to say, I do not understand still to this day, even in writing my book, that I don't know where that mentality came from. I didn't come from that. I came from a Christian home, Christian parents, going to church. You know, I was a musician in church and all that. I'm not for sure where the mentality came from, but I just was always attracted to fast money. I wanted to get money fast, and that was the easy way to do it, was to run to the dope game. You know, it was just that easy, and then it elevates from there. You get started in the game. I got started in the game, had somebody that was teaching me how to hustle and sell dope on the streets, and you know, the do's and the don'ts and all of this and that or whatever. And then whenever I got a hang of it, you got to be up to make the money. You don't want to miss the money. And that's where my drug addiction started, was selling dope first.
So let's go back then. Okay, but wait, you weren't scared to sell dope?
I didn't care. Back then, I just had I don't care. I think, and you guys, this is the mental part of it. The mental part of it is, I was damaged and ruined already inside, because I didn't have the acceptance from my parents for living a lesbian life. And that affected me, not being accepted, you know, by my parents, who I always thought were supposed to be the ones. And I'm not saying anything bad, nothing towards my parents or nothing like that, but that's what I was affected by mentally. And when you're affected by a mental state like that, you try to do things to maybe suppress or to cover up what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And it spirals out of control if you allow it, you know?
So since that's a part of your story, so let's rewind for a second.
Okay.
When did you know you was a part of the LGBTQIA? Hello?
Listen,
community.
I became a part of the community and decided to live my truth when I turned 17. But I knew early on, with all honesty, I knew early on from maybe elementary school that I just had more of attraction to females than I did males. I didn't think I wanted 8 kids. I wanted to be married and have all these children and all that. And that just wasn't the road that was paved for me. And that's just the way it was. So when I turned 17, I decided to come out and live my truth, regardless of who accepted me.
Right.
And my parents happened to be 2 individuals that did not accept, you know, the way that they weren't happy with the way that I was walking. And so it was kind of a disown. You know, I had to get out of their house, and if I wasn't going to live my life the way they wanted me to, then I had to leave. And I know that's not the way they wanted it, but they didn't know how to accept it. And I still decided to live my life that way, and that had a lot to do with why doing drugs was a part of me, because I just was trying to suppress the fact. You know, I was just trying to suppress the fact, and it spiraled out of control like fast. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm not only am I running from the fact that I'm not accepted by my parents, the fast money was I just decided to run with the wrong crowd. You know what I'm saying? I always chose and picked I would pick and choose people that just didn't add value to my life. They didn't.
Mm.
And I just wanted to be accepted though. And part of that exception of being accepted, that just came with being allowing people to treat me any kind of way. You know what I'm saying? And just being okay with whatever a person did to me.
Right.
Just because, oh, this person accepted me, I'm hanging out with them, this, that, or whatever. I started doing drugs at an early age just because I feel like that. As I'm writing my book, I realized that affected me more than, more than you would think. You know what I'm saying? I'm 17 years old. I come out to my parents and they just shouldn't, turn their back on me. You know what I'm saying? They were always there for me, but I went through 25 years of getting my parents to accept, who I am. This is me. It's not a phase. I'm 45 years old. I came out of college when I was 17. Go figure. That's just what that is.
So in that acceptance, them not accepting you, then you decided, okay, I'm gonna do this fast money, right? And you got trained to get into the dope game. What was that like?
Well, I ain't gonna lie to you. At the time, it was fun. You know what I'm saying? It was cool. I was like, oh my God, I can make $2,000-$3,000 in one day selling dope. Oh my God, it's dangerous. Going into it, yes, I was scared. The guy that taught me the game, he handed me guns, and I was like, what am I supposed to do with these? He was like, you can't be in this game and don't protect yourself. So he taught me how to shoot a gun and how to carry it and all that. And I just happened to be in the hands of a person that had the dope game figured out. You know what I'm saying? And when I looking back on it, he was making probably 5-10 G's a day. Just the guy that brought me into it. But the people that I chose to hang around, they were also giving me the game and doing this. And it started out just selling weed. Oh, let me see, a little sack here, a little sack there, with marijuana. But I was like, I want faster money. That wasn't coming fast enough. And so I was introduced to cocaine. And it really, really changed my life. And I'm saying it started off making the money, and then the money was coming, and the other person that I was doing this with, and I hope she's not watching this, because she gonna beat me up. I'm not gonna say any names, but the person that I was doing it with, it was perfect because she had several family members that were gonna be the ones to make the purchases. It started off kind of like that. And then we were like, oh, we're going to get us an apartment and turn it into a trap house. And we did that, baby. East Dallas was the place. We had it sold up. Ferguson 635. I ain't going to lie to you. We had it sold up over there. Wow. And it got to the point where, I got robbed a couple of times. And I started, messing around with somebody that, played the game with me and played like they was in love with me and, knew where I kept my stash, and woke up one morning and it was gone. So now I got to pull a gun out on this individual for doing it. And then it brought heat to the area because we had all this commotion going on. I'll never forget it. One day, my mom and dad came over to drop something off, and she was like, Erika, who are these strange people running in and out your house? It was crackheads, you know what I'm saying? Crackheads running in and out because that really wasn't my house. That was the trap house. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that was the easiest place for me to tell her to come bring stuff. It brought heat. One day I'm leaning in the car talking to one of my homeboys, and I had a gun on me and it was fully loaded and one in the chamber ready. You know what I'm saying? Cops came up and they asked me, they said, are you making a drug deal? And I was like, no. Then I started talking crap to the officer. And when they arrested me, I had the gun on me, so I caught a charge. And it was dangerous. It was such a dangerous game. Looking back on it, I don't regret it because that's who made me who I am. But in that moment, after I got out of jail, I was like, oh, I'm finna go hard. I'm finna even go harder. Get out. Wait, had you gotten addicted yet? I hadn't. This is where it comes in. Sure. So the hustle had got good. Money was coming. My friend and I, we was taking turns working shifts. She would be up on the night shift. Then I'd be up on the day shift. Then we would flip flop. And after making all this money, I was like, man, what can I do? It was days where she had to go tend the family and do stuff, so I had to stay up around the clock. So I pulled out the cocaine, and I started getting high. One thing that I know, I didn't understand what cocaine was all about. You guys, I did not know what I was to expect after I snorted it. I didn't know.
So you was out here selling it, but you didn't know what the effects
I didn't know what the effects were. I just knew that it made people come back to it. I just knew that it made people come back to it. So in my event of trying it, I'll never forget. I had got a hold to some pure cocaine, and it wasn't cut. And I'm sitting up, and I'm talking to some friends, and the people that gave it to me, they were like, Erika, you don't need that much. You don't need that much. Just go ahead and try a little bit. And I was like, man, I'm a G. I'm a G. At this point, I'm snorting cocaine, and I don't even know what this high is all about, y'all. I don't know what it's about. I just know that it was keeping me up. I knew it was keeping me up, and it was serving a purpose for my hustle. And one day I was sitting up with these people, and I snorted a whole line. And after I snorted it, I threw up. And it was a feeling that I had never had before. That was when I realized, oh, this is how cocaine makes you feel. And I got numb in the face, and I couldn't eat, and I couldn't sleep, and I was like, it just started taking over. It's like that day after I did pure cocaine, it took over my life. So it took over.
What would you describe the first high like, though? Or do you remember?
The first high was just, you just be in a whole nother world. It makes you, it's an escape. You don't think about anything. You just want to be in that zone. You're zoned out. You feel numb. You're literally numb. Like if you snort cocaine and you press on your face, it's numb.
Oh, wow.
You're just numb to the world, and it's an aggravating feeling. It keeps you mad. It keeps you pissed off, and it just made me want to just beat up everybody and not give a, excuse my language, not give a, I just didn't care about a lot. And then it cranked up a notch. It was like, okay, now we about to go be some go-getters. It started out with us starting to go rob people. Let's go rob this person. Let's go rob that person. You just don't care. You be in a world where you just don't care about anybody else. You don't care. You just don't. And I hated it because I would get mad at myself because I was like, I'm such a talented person that there's other things that I could do in life, and I'm sitting here robbing people and stealing and selling other people's stuff and not caring.
Right.
And then it got to the point where I started getting high off my own supply. Now I'm not even making that much money. Now I'm not making that much money. Now I'm snorting more than I'm supposed to be, and the money's not rolling in. You know what I'm saying? And then it got to the point where I would snort cocaine and think that nobody else around me knew. Walking around, nostril dirty, sniffing, sneezing, can't blow your nose. It's a lot come with it. It's a whole lot that comes with it, but I snorted cocaine for 7 years straight. And after 7 years of not liking it, it turned to smoking crack. Because cocaine just wasn't doing it for me. And I was in a relationship with a young lady that I left. It got to the point where I was hustling with her cousin. And one day I left the house. This is some years later. That's what 7 years of just snorting cocaine. We hooked up, and I had left some crack at the house for her to sell to somebody. And I left to go to the hotel and hustle with her cousin. We were working shifts. That's just how the game goes. You hustle with somebody, you working shifts. I was at the hotel, and she called me late one night, and she said, "Ee," and I was like, "What's wrong?" And she was like, you ain't never tried this stuff? And I was like, "What stuff?" And she was like, this crack, girl. And I was like, what's wrong? She said, oh, I think you gonna like this. I said, did you smoke something with somebody? Come to find out, the person that I was selling the dope to that she was supposed to give it to, she allowed them to hit it in the house. And they offered her some and she tried it.
Oh my God.
And then she said that she liked it. So
Oh
she
my
had
God.
me, she wanted me to try it.
Oh my God.
And I'm thinking in my head, it's a couple of things in my life that I said I'd never do, and that's smoke crack and stand on the corner and beg for food. I could never see myself doing it. And it turned into I put the cocaine down. I went home that night, I hit it, and I'm gonna tell you, I knew this was the first time, and this is where it gets serious, you guys. I hit it, and I went deaf. I went deaf for about 15 seconds. I couldn't hear nothing. And I hate to say this, but that's what got me hooked. It was a feeling that I had never felt before. I went deaf. I couldn't move. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't feel anything at the moment. I really couldn't even see. It was like I went blank. And I got addicted to the blank. And my heart beating fast in the mud now, like I'm living it again. But I just think that from that point, I was like, ooh, I like this. So we smoked it up. We smoked up all of the product. I sold everything in my house. I'll never forget it. I had got a 401k check from a job that I had. It was $16,000. And we smoked it up. I was stealing from my dad. I was doing stuff that I had never thought that I would do. And I'm going to tell y'all, this is serious. It's serious because now I'm hurting the people around me that love me. And I'll never forget, I was living in North Dallas and she had 2 kids and they were asleep. It was late one night. And we were getting high and we was fighting over who gonna hit the last piece. And she got mad and she left the house running over to her auntie house that was a couple of blocks away. They were crackheads too. And I remember chasing behind her and we left them babies at the house. They were asleep. And this is what made me realize that this is too much. You know what I'm saying? 7 years of snorting coke and then chasing after the pipe was the most horrible years of my life. But I learned a lot from it. We get to her aunt's house and her aunt said, y'all are fighting over this. Y'all don't need to be fighting. You're not going to be satisfied until your heart busts. And I went deaf again like I hit it. And that's when I realized that I need to stop. I need to get my life together because I'm doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Erika, you're doing too much. It was times that my mom started begging me. They found out that I was getting high because I had to get drug tested for an insurance policy that my dad was changing. The medics came to the house. I peed in the cup. I did everything I needed to do. And a few weeks later, my mom said, she called me, she said, Erika, you just need to get your life together. You getting high and all that. And I said, Mama, where you get that from? She said, we got the paperwork back. You've been getting high. And I couldn't even deny it. There was nothing that I could say to make her feel like I wasn't. Now I'm lying to folks. I'm lying to my parents. I need to get myself together. So in that moment, it got it got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm tired of getting high, but I was still doing it. We had left the apartment. My lease was up. We left the apartment. We moved into a hotel, into budget suites. This was, I'll never forget, this was 2005. The Hurricane Katrina had just hit. And it was a whole bunch of people from New Orleans in the area, and they were living in these hotels and stuff. You remember, it's just saturated with, people that were affected by the storm.
Right.
And what do you know? A neighbor of mine that moved in, we were on the third floor. He moved in down from us, and he was a crackhead, and we started getting high with him. And the story is so long, is I can't make this a short story, and I can't lie to you, but
Keep going, girl.
right. But this is when I decided, and this is the glorifying part of this, because I did not say a whole lot of stuff within this 8, 9 year time span. A lot of stuff happened in the days of me selling dope and getting high. However, this is towards the end. Right after Hurricane Katrina hit, I met this guy. He was living next door to us, and myself and the girlfriend at the time, and him would sit up and get high every day in, day out. We just don't care. And I stayed down at the room with him, and she left and went back to the house. Well, when I got back, she was like, Erika, I'm done. And I was like, you done with me? Are you done doing dope? What are you done with? She said, I'm done getting high. I'm tired of this. And I was like, okay, well, can you help me stop? Can you help me stop? But she said no. And I was like, what do you mean, no, you can't help me stop? I'm going to tell you right here, looking straight in the camera. Can't nobody change you but you. When she told me no, I was mad because she told me no, but I couldn't be mad because can't nobody change that but you. I sat in the car and I asked God, I said, because it's inevitable that a lot of stuff in this world you cannot change. I can't change the dope game. Dope game was dope game 100 years ago. It's still running. I can't change that. I can't change what goes on in these streets. But what I can do is change me.
Right.
And I got myself together. And I sat in that car and I said, you can do this, Erika. And I started admitting to myself first, okay, you got a problem. I had a problem. I did. I had a serious problem that took over my life. When I can sit here and say that I smoked up $16,000 worth of dope in a very short period of time. That messed with me because I could have did a whole lot with that money. But I smoked it up.
How do you think your family was affected by all of this?
My family had been affected by the stuff that I was doing before the drug habit. We all had our set of issues. I'm not going to say I came from a dysfunctional family because it wasn't super dysfunctional. We had our dysfunctional days and times, but most of it was a secret. I never flat out just said, Mama, I smoked a little crack and snort a little cocaine. So if Eddie Mcdade is watching right now, a lot of that stuff she didn't know. She knew, but she didn't. You know what I'm saying? So I think that I affected them in the sense because I went to prison. When I went to prison, that messed them up too. And I went to prison behind the cases that I caught. While I was drugging, I'm committing crimes like check forgery. One time I met this lady, stole her check, wrote it out for a certain amount of dollars. Not gonna tell you how much it was, but a guy got caught. Went and cashed it at her bank, bold face in front of the camera, and caught another case.
Oh my God.
So now I got the check case and a gun case that I was trying to fight. I ended up on papers. After the fact.
Oh my God. Jesus.
Then while I'm on papers, I committed another crime and violated and ended up locked up in the time that I was on papers. So at this time, I know that I'm affecting my family. My family is hella affected by it, especially my parents.
Oh my God.
Especially my parents.
So Did you guys ever have any conversations about it? Because you said most of this was a secret, though. Did y'all ever have any conversations about it, like meaningful conversations?
Meaning, I'm gonna say this. When I was locked up, I wrote letters to all of them. And part of those letters was admitting to them because you have to admit to yourself and others that you have a problem. And so I wrote letters explaining, my faults. And you know what? I'm tired of running and I'm tired of lying and I'm tired of just being that person that, as far as family couldn't be trusted. I always felt like I was the black sheep. I was a different kid. My siblings were like angels. I was a go-getter.
Mm.
I'm telling you, I was a go-getter. Hey, Erika, I bet you won't do this. Bet you I will. That's what that was. I bet you won't go slap such and such in the face. Bet you I will.
Mm-mm.
You know what I'm saying? I was the one that always got in fights and beating up people and doing all this stuff. I had an anger issue that was shoot out the roof. My anger was just, I was jacked up in the head. I was real jacked up in the head. But I know that I affected my family. And the realest thing that I ever heard come from one of my family members was from my best friend, my sister, aka Hey sis. I'm not gonna say her name. But she told me one day, she was like, you need to stop going to jail so much. I told mama, yeah, she was like, yeah, you think? Because before I turned 21, I probably went to jail about 16, 17 times for stupid stuff.
My God.
For stupid stuff, smoking weed in the car, talking crap to a police, doing that kind of stuff. So my sister told me one day, she was like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I told mama, just leave your butt in jail. And baby, if I tell you when I did get locked up, I went to see the judge, and the judge looked at me and said, Miss Mcdade, I'm tired of seeing you in here. You can go home when I'm ready for you to go home. And I was like, what? And I sat in there for a year and a half. It wasn't a lot of time, but that year and a half felt like 17
Wait a
years.
minute, wait. Did y'all hear what she said? She sat in there for a year and a half. How many of y'all, hashtag not me, a year and a half ain't a long time, baby. I like my freedom.
Well, you don't realize how much you like your freedom until the judge tells you you're not going home until he's ready for you to go home. And after all, I sat and did that time, and I read the Bible, and I got closer to God, and I had an outer body experience with Jesus, and that changed my life. You know what I'm saying? It really did. I had to realize in my life that you gotta care about something, and it's gotta be self. You have to care about yourself. I knew that at that moment when I was ready to stop doing drugs, that you have to remove yourself from old people, places, and things. That's why I said I can't change the game. I can't change the dope game. I can't change the drugs on the street, but I can change how I handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So I left. I left Dallas for many years. I left. I did my whole little time, and I got out, got my life together, and decided that at the age of 29 that I wanted to go to Bible college. You know what I'm saying? And I did what I had to do to go to Bible college, and I knew that I would love this game. And y'all don't laugh at me, and please don't stop sitting in my chair when I say this, but this is the fastest money I can get closest to the dope. It's the fastest money I can get that's closest to the dope game. That money was quick, and I love what I do. I love me, and it took a lot, but I had to realize, and I didn't. If you don't believe in God and think He can't spare your life, you better get it together because He spared mine. And here it is, 18 years later, and I'm not gonna say clean from it because I could always run back to it because it's there, but I'm free from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that with tears in my eyes because I chose to walk down a different alley, and that alley saved me. You know what I'm saying? And I had to get myself together. And it's crazy because this many years later, I realized that I'm not the same person. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the same person I used to be. I'm to the point now where if there was me, coke, in this world and I was given a choice to die or live, but I had to do the cocaine, I'm just gonna choose to die.
Mm.
Because if I ever was to smoke crack or snort cocaine ever again, I'm gonna instantly die.
Mm.
It's gonna kill me. It's going to kill me. 7 years straight of snorting coke, y'all, for the longest. I couldn't even blow my nose.
Mm.
For years, I couldn't blow my nose. And for years, I was affected by that really, really bad. I messed up my teeth. Um, I destroyed, I'm sure, a whole bunch of insides of my organs and stuff. I'm quite sure there was some damage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But here I am today to tell my story. And it's best that if anybody out there has a drug addiction or a bad habit that
Alcohol.
yeah, it's serious, y'all. It's real serious. And you know what? Ever since then, I just choose to not. It's more to life than to be sitting up worried about stuff and be sitting up and be mad with people and to sit up and just be destructive to yourself because there's way more to life than that.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all see me out there traveling and having fun and doing me and not being worried or stressed about life because life be life and it doesn't bother me.
Right.
Because it was a lot worse for me in the past, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was really bad.
And the whole premise of me doing a show like this, right, is I told you my dad, if you knew Roger, hey to the Price family, but if you knew Roger, like you knew that he was in and out of coke. I don't think he did anything else but coke and crack and all of that from the stories that he told me before he passed away. But I think about, and the reason I ask you about your family is because you said you were stealing things from your dad. My dad, we had China. China would come up missing.
Wow.
We had, we considered ourselves kind of the Huxtables because we had the nice TV back in when
the back in the day with the big bag.
Yeah,
big bag.
that was missing. My flute, and I was in the band. So how am I gonna play? My piano came up missing.
Okay, so just the number of things that I
my mama's gold.
was stealing money out of my dad's bank account. He loaned me his car one day and he left his travel wallet in the glove box and I was like, I don't need money. So I'm gonna go and get money. And you know what? I'm gonna say this because we all have done things in our life that we might regret or that you feel bad for, that you say you'll never do again. I feel like and think that back in the day I did so much of it that now I'll be scared. To even to even walk out the restaurant with a toothpick if I feel like I'm stealing. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Like one time I was with my daughters and we went to the hair store and I accidentally walked out of the store with a bag of hair in my hand. We were doing so much and I was like, okay, we can't find what we're looking for. We're gonna walk out of the store. When I got out of the store, y'all, I went back in the store. I was like, oh my God. I walked out the store with this bag of hair. The lady was like, it's okay. I was like, no, it's not okay. I walked out the store and didn't pay for it. I feel so convicted. You know what I'm saying? For doing bad things, but I make sure that I do my due diligence in the community by giving back and learning how to do things that make me feel good for, you know what I'm saying? I have a lot to make up for. I had a lot of karma too.
Why do you say that?
Girl, I was stealing TV. Y'all remember back in the day you used to take a good TV out the hotel room? You know what I'm saying? You have it, baby, let me tell you something. And I'm gonna say this with I gotta be careful how I say this, but I did stuff in my past and took things from people that they were trying to figure out who did it, but I would do stuff like get their key, go make a copy of it, put their key back on their key ring, go walk into their house with their key while they gone, take all their stuff, lock the door back, and be sitting on a few $1,000s because I done pawned all the stuff that I took.
Oh my God.
I have to tiptoe around it because I just, that it was years ago, but it's something that I did during these bad drug habits.
Mm-hmm.
Another time I was with some friends. We saw a guy at the car wash late one night washing his Cadillac. He was minding his business. We pull up. They said, "E, bet you won't go robbing." I get out the car. I got my pistol. Walk up to him, whacked him upside the back of his head, and took his wallet. And dude had money. What was the point?
But I had a praying grandmother.
Yeah, but you had a friend. But I had a friend. Baby, let me tell you something. And I feel bad. I felt bad for doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd be thinking, like, what was the point? What were we doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I wasn't scared of nothing or nobody. Now I'm a big freaking crybaby, and I'm scared to steal, and I'm scared to take, and I'm scared. But God changed me.
Right.
He changed me from having a hard heart. I didn't care about nobody. I didn't care about nothing or nobody.
What would you say was like really in your head, the final straw as far as actually caring about other people, though?
Looking back on it, just all the dirt that I did. And that man could have died from getting hit that hard, from being hit on the head. He might have kids or grandkids. I'm taking somebody's stuff and that they worked hard for.
Right.
But one thing that made me realize is that my parents, even though they did turn their back on me as far as not accepting me and how it all went when I came out, they never turned their back on me. My parents was there to help me through the tough times. And my mama came and saw me every week when I was locked up. Every week, regardless. Being away from my family, my niece was born in the time that I was locked up. I missed that. I had a couple of birthdays locked up. I didn't get to spend time with my family. My mom went through breast cancer, not once, but twice. Not being able to be there for my mother. When you start realizing that you have affected everybody around you and everybody around you is worried about you, I came to a realization that I gotta be a different person.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta learn to start caring about something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then it came to the point where I was like, I'm locked up. This was before I actually went across the street to state prison, but I'm in county jail and I'm standing in the window looking at the liquor store down there and all the people going down there cashing their checks and, just living life. And this lady that came up behind me, she had been locked up for 17 years and was on her way back. She got out, did 17 years in prison, came out, and got locked back up a year and a half later.
Oh my God.
But she put her arm on my shoulder, and I'll never forget it. She said, "Baby girl, let me tell you something." She was a soulful black woman too. She said, "Baby girl, let me tell you something. You see that liquor store you looking at?" She said, "You see them cars rolling on that highway?" She said, "That people like don't stop because you locked up behind bars, so don't let this time do you. You do the time." Because it was like 3 months after I had been in there, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm just ready to go home. Please let me go home." She said, "Their judge told you you're not going nowhere, so you're going to have to sit it out." She said, "Take it from somebody who just did 17 years. I'm on my way back to do another 10. Another 10. She was on her way back for stealing out a department store. She hit jackpot, went in the roof of a department store, and they stole all the stuff out this department store.
Oh my
and
God.
She was going back for another 10 years.
Oh my God.
She said this time was done a lot of time, and that's when I had my out of body experience. I had a dream that I was walking down the beach with Jesus Christ, and he held my hand real tight, and he said, "Listen, my daughter, do as I say, and I will lead and guide you. I will always take 2 steps in front of you. And he held my hand so tight that when I woke up, my hand was bruised.
Wow.
And at that point, I realized that my life would change. And if I tell y'all when I got out, I did a 360. My mama didn't know who I was. She was like, "Oh, you want to get a job?" And I helped her through her chemo and stuff. And I moved out and I finished my probation, because they let me back out. I was on papers when I came out. And I did a 360 and I haven't looked back since. You know what I'm saying? I haven't looked back. You can't let your past ruin you, but what I have, I can give to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? It's important to share your story. It's important to tell your story because you don't never know who you're gonna help.
Right.
You don't never know who you're gonna help through a situation. That was tough. That was tough. Just living the hard life like that was so tough. Selling dope, being scared, going to jail, robbing people, smoking dope. You know what I'm saying? It was rough.
Man, what is this book coming out?
Okay,
Because-
so
wow.
I've been talking about this book. The book is The Dream, the Life, the Legacy, and I'm struggling. The last time that I wrote in the book was not too long ago, and I laid across the bed and I was writing. Per you told me write, a few minutes, a few hours a day or an hour a day. And it's hard because this book, I have to relive every moment. And when I'm talking about it, I start smelling it and I start, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to I don't want to be in that zone.
Right.
The last time I was writing, my girlfriend was like, "Are you okay? What's wrong? Are you crying?" Like, I'm writing in this book. It's not easy. I thought writing about my life. I've been working on this book for like 3-4 years now. When it does release, I advise everyone to get the book because it is from the day I came out the Coochie up until talking Coochie, right? The story covers my life from the day I came out the Coochie up until now and how I completely turned my life around. And it feels good to walking with my head high and understanding that mentally I went through a lot. I'm glad that I don't walk down that alley anymore of even having anger issues. I don't even have that anymore. You know what I'm saying? I used to, I just recently changed into this because when you first met me, I still had some anger issues, but I've
got somebody else.
Right, but cut it out because if you're not adding value to my life, then I don't want to be bothered with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't afford to be in that zone or go down that lane.
Right.
Because it's not for me. Right. It's not for me. I don't want to relive that. So the book is coming. I thought it was gonna release 2 years ago. But I'm struggling, with all honesty, I'm struggling hard with the part of my life where I came out to my parents. It's just hard. It's hard to talk about.
What makes it so hard? Is it because you're reliving it? Is it because you don't want anybody to see your parents in a negative light? What do you feel like it is?
Because they don't know how hurt I was from it. They
still don't know
that they don't. If they do, it's not because I physically said it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know how badly that hurt me. That hurt me. For my parents to turn their backs on me, in a sense of being here for me in my sexuality, I got years of backlash and you're going to hell and you didn't grow up like this and you didn't see this growing up in the house. Where did this come from? It was a lot. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot. Now I do take into consideration that my parents come from a totally different era than we did. Now I could be ugly and say, well, shoot, they was fast having kids at 12 and 13. Because I I could swore my granny had my daddy when she was about 13 years old. So they were living fast lives just undercover. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
However, there's no excuse why you turn your back on your children. There's absolutely no excuse. Do I forgive my parents for that? Sure, I do. I do. But it's hard because I have not built up enough courage. I'm 45 years old. I've not built up enough courage to just tell them, you know what, that hurt me more than you thought it did. Y'all were just making decisions together as husband and wife back then. I respect my parents, hands down. They've been married 54 years. They know how they wanted to raise their children, and to find out that children are not living the life that they wanted us to live, you know, and it affected her. I think my mom was more embarrassed by it than anything. I dressed like a boy at that time. I was real hard back in the day. I've lightened up a lot over the last 20 years. I'm not that hardcore anymore. I don't even call myself a stud anymore. I'm more of just a dominant female. But my mom was embarrassed of it. So, you know, she had her hang-ups about it, and it's fine. Everybody can feel the way that they feel. But it's kind of awkward when you have one child out of all your children. You have one child that goes to church, pays their tithes, reads their Bible. I have questions. I call my mom, hey, what does it mean in the Bible when it says this or whoop whoop or whatever? But you just punched me in the back for being a lesbian.
Right.
And everybody had their own opinion about lesbians and the Lord. My good God done saved me, so you can't tell me I'm not loved by him just because I'm a lesbian. And I told my mom, I said, you know what, I'll meet you in hell if you don't keep judging me like this. And she left me alone.
Yeah.
You cannot pass judgment on a person because of that. I did not become a lesbian because of you. Maybe I was born like this. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. We go through what we go through. I love my parents. I love them to life. Not this, but I love them to life. And I appreciate everything they've done for me. And I love the fact that regardless and in spite of everything I put them through, because I put them through a lot, but they also put me through something that they didn't realize that affected my entire life. Not being accepted by my parents tore me up.
So would you say that at the end of the day, that all of the unacceptance, right, and not being able to have the parents just be there for you, it brought you down to the dope game, the addiction, fast life.
It did. I didn't grow up around that. Candy, I did not grow up in the hood. I never saw the hood. I'm telling you, the first time that I experienced some hood stuff is when I hooked up with one of these girls. One of the girls that I hooked up with, and we didn't have no money to go wash. And I was like, well, what are we gonna do? She was like, we're gonna wash them in the tub. I said, what? I didn't see struggle. Let me say that. My parents did not show me any type of struggle. I never experienced the lights being cut off, never looked in the refrigerator and there wasn't no food. A lot of y'all didn't experience that. I didn't. I grew up in a house, I never heard my mama cuss. She never listened to secular music. We lived in the finer parts of town, and I went to the finer schools. They drove nice cars. I never saw struggle until my sister broke it down. She said, girl, we struggled. Mom and dad struggled so bad. One day, my sister told me when I was little, one time my father left, and then when he came back, I didn't even know who he was. Struggle. You know what I'm saying? What? So at the end of the day, yeah, you know what I'm saying? They never showed me that growing up. I never saw it.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up around that. Where the heck did that come from? I went to Garland High School. There went a whole bunch of dope people out there, maybe on the east side, but I didn't grow up around it. So where did it come from? But you try to find things to suppress how you're feeling and what you went through to fulfill. So running to the dope game with that. Guess what? Them dope dealers I was running with, I bet you they accepted me because I did all that stupid shit for them. Jumping on the freeway, dope under the battery in the car and taped on the inside of the tire, driving from county line to county line, dropping off dope in Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? Doing stupid stuff. It was one time I was about to get on the airplane. They wanted me to swallow some capsules with cocaine in them. You get on the plane, they pay you so much money. You get on the plane, you drop it off in Jamaica, you shit it out, and then they pay you the rest of the money and they sing it in your merry way. I was willing to do stupid shit like that.
My God, and you could be dead too.
Oh yeah, because the bag could have busted in my stomach.
Right.
You see it all the time. But I was willing to do stupid stuff just to feel a slight of acceptance. And I'm being serious. I'm not that way now. Everybody wants to be accepted, and you don't have to accept me. I come like this. This is my package. This is me. If you don't like me, you ain't gotta be around me. You know what I'm saying? And I wish I would do something stupid now to compensate for anything that I got going on in my life, because it's not worth it.
Right.
You know. But that dope game accepted me. Did. The streets accepted me. Did.
And we don't have time, because we got to wrap it up in a minute. But we don't have time to dive into. And I know that your parents played a big factor in this. But we have to come back and talk about the church world and how their non-acceptance of the community causes so much drama and trauma.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that will be one of the shows that I do in February, guys.
Well, I'll come back and we can talk about that.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
definitely.
What words of encouragement would you have for anybody that is trying to get out of their addiction, or someone that is dealing with a family member, a friend that is in that lifestyle right now?
If you are dealing or struggling with any type of addiction, know that there is a God. Understand that you're important to somebody, and you need to learn to love yourself. Because when you learn to love yourself, you can make those changes in life. Because changes is it's easy, but everybody doesn't like to go through it. Mm-hmm. You can change. You can be a better you. And always remember the serenity prayer. God, please grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Understand that everything is everything, and you can't come out of whatever hole that you're in. It's possible, because I did.
I love that, sister. Love that. Okay, listen. So you've been watching this episode of Coking Coochie. Again, as I started out this beginning of this episode, if you know someone that is struggling with an addiction, please send them to my DM. If you are one of Erika's friends or clients, send it to the DM. She won't have to tell me. I will send you the doctor's, the therapist's name that is doing the workshop with addiction, and help that person. Okay. I don't care if it's you. Come on.
Right.
We got you. Right. And so come back for episodes for mental health, for sex education, for well-being stuff, wedding officiant stuff, all things wedding, whatever. Hit the like and ring that bell so that you can get all of these notifications so that you can come back and watch. Okay. And if you are watching at the end, hit #replay and go back and watch from the beginning, because this was definitely an episode that you don't want to have missed any parts of it.
Right.
Erika, how can they follow you?
You can follow me on my Facebook, and it's across the board. My Facebook is, oh my God, what is my Facebook?
Erika Mcdade.
Erika Mcdade, and you can follow me on Instagram at emoneybaby27. emoney, EMONEY baby 27. And you can follow me on TikTok as well.
Absolutely. What's your TikTok name?
TikTok name is emoney the barber.
Emoney the barber.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can follow candyologycs, just look for Erika.
Yeah.
You'll find her.
I'm out there.
You'll find her.
I'm out there.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching on this lovely Sunday, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye, y'all.
Peace.